What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Last Flight Show. I'm your host, Jay Klein. Joining me, as always, is Matt Hicks, owner of Last Flight Calls. What's up, Matt?
Not much, man.
You've been awful busy.
It's been a busy week.
Do you feel like you finally kind of slowed down a little, like have time to rest, or is it?
Well, I don't have a choice because I'm going to Florida all next week.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm not going to be building or shipping. Well, I'll be shipping some. Zach will be in here shipping next week, but I won't be building it a lot of anything.
Yeah.
So
the
today I'm kind of at a good point of finally got some stuff built and I can get away because, Tuesday, Wednesday, that was not the case. It was full tilt. I was kind of nervous about, leaving for a week because there's just so much to be done.
Yeah.
And there still is in a way, but I'm at a good point that it's like a weight lifted a little bit. So I'm ready for vacation now.
Yeah, everybody's been looking forward to the pot calls, and you've been working so hard on that, and it's just like people kind of forget that there's waterfowl calls to make too. So.
Yeah. These things are sweet.
Yeah. The much anticipated pot call release has been underway. Pot calls are on the website. A ton of different color options, strikers. We've got a pretty cool striker that we'll talk about later in the podcast. But before we get into anything, let's talk about what you got going on over there.
What do I have going on over here?
The giveaway.
Oh, the giveaway. All right. Last Flight Calls and Blocker Outdoors. We've teamed up to give away, to do a little, turkey season giveaway here. So this is what you're going to get from Blocker. It's their new turkey, finisher turkey series, like chest pack. I'm not going to call it a vest because it ain't a vest. It's just a chest pack. And more so for your running and gunning type deal. You got two compartments for two pot calls, loops for your strikers, a couple mouth calls can go in there. You can do a box call down below. Open this bad boy up. Binoculars. You can put a thermocell on the side. You name it. You got a pocket back here.
I'm thinking more
put
like
your hunting license in there. Whatever you need to do. Like, this thing's actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm thinking like to benefit like later season. It gets hot.
Oh,
and
it wouldn't be so heavy.
Yeah,
on
I
it.
know my vest. There's a ton of times where I'm just like, I just like to leave my vest in the truck, but I need a place to put my pot. Like I can't put my pot call in my binocular pouch or binocular vest, and
so that's what we got from Blocker for the giveaway. And then the Last Flight portion is you're going to get a 3-pack of the mouth calls. Your snake tongue, your fang, and your combo cut. Get all 3 of those. And a fully custom cast acrylic pot call. This is, actually, you guys have not seen this color yet. And you get the custom matching striker with it. This is called Desert Ironwood. It is an acrylic, but it's supposed to look like Desert Ironwood. It's pretty, it's pretty classy looking. So,
where do you come up with the names for these? Does it just pop in your head?
Brian came up with this name, and that's the way they designed this acrylic, was to look like Desert Ironwood burl.
Okay.
Is what it's supposed to look like, but in acrylic form.
I got you.
Sometimes I do just make up, like the Royal Maroon.
Yeah.
I just made up Royal Maroon because I wanted something kind of cool versus just maroon.
Right.
And it is a very deep maroon, like a Royal Maroon.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then like the granite gray. I didn't just want to have gray.
Right.
That's just blah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just granite gray.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just sounds like it's hardy and
Right.
it's cool.
Yeah.
But so usually the names just follow whatever the acrylic, Brian over at Deadshot says it's called. That's usually what we follow.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, but sometimes I can't remember because there's like so many different color ways that we do that sometimes I forget what something's called and I just make up something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I do there. But yeah, pretty sweet giveaway. I mean, that's a $200 pot call, slate over glass, and then 3-pack of mouth calls is $30. So that's $230. Finisher pack is $80 or $90. So,
Yeah.
Not a bad little giveaway.
Yeah.
$300 plus deal. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So get on.
There you go. That's what was my next question.
Where do you enter this thing?
There's a giveaway, but we're not telling you how you do it.
Yeah, you can just get on lastflightgear.com, and over on the left side, it'll say giveaway. And you just click that tab. It'll pop up. You can do all your stuff. Or in the menu bar, you can hit menu, and it's at the bottom of the menu. It says giveaway. Mm-hmm. So it's right. It should be easy to find.
Okay.
So, right now, I think we're about 400 entries. We just put it out. When did we put it out? Yesterday?
I was going to say, it was either yesterday or the day before.
Day before. Like a day and a half ago. So that's what you're singing.
I told you it was going to.
Yeah, not too bad on that, I don't think. So
Yeah, good deal.
I'm excited about it.
Cool. So before we get into this episode, I want to talk about a couple things of the topics that we're going to talk about. So obviously the much anticipated pot calls. So now that those are finally on the market, they're done. They've been flying out the freaking door.
Yeah, we'll kind of take you guys through like this week at Last Flight.
Yeah.
Like what happened the last 4 days here.
Yeah, because there's no way that people actually understand what all goes down. Like you're gonna get me going. And I want to get into the episode, but like I had another guy come in and help this week that has never helped before, and he bought a call earlier this week, and he actually came in, bought a call, and I asked him, I was like, "Man, what are you doing? Like, do you think you want to help sometime?" Yeah. And later that night, I was like, "Hey, you going to work tomorrow?" Like, I got a lot to do actually, and he came and worked, and it was just like it was just eye opening for him. Like, we'll get into that later. I don't want to spoil the episode, but maybe we should do like one of these days. We'll film like a production video, like
like a vlog type.
Yeah, what actually goes down, like what behind the scenes, so people have an understanding of the amount of work that gets put into this.
It's a lot.
I don't even know if we have enough camera batteries.
But anyways, we'll talk about that. Talk about my first turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Did we already say this stuff?
No, we didn't get to the first turkey.
Gotcha. We'll do a segment called "Is Roosted Roosted?"
Wait, roosted roasted.
Is roosted roasted? And then if we get to it, we got some other topics here. But anyways,
yep. Well, you have anything else before we get this ball rolling?
Let's get it. Let's get it going.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Last Flight Show, brought to you by Last Flight Calls and Gear. This episode starts now.
And we're back.
I had to get my chair fixed. This chair, it just wants to sink ever so slowly.
Yeah.
It won't sink in a minute, but like after 10 minutes, you're on the floor.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, wait, I'm on the floor.
It's just so slow because then you're like, then the mic's like up here.
Yeah. And, I'm sitting on some blankets now, so we're good to go. But
all right, Matt, take us through this pot call release.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to jump back on that story. So I had a guy come in and help earlier this week. He bought a call. Then I texted him that night and said, hey, why don't you come work tomorrow? And, even he come in and worked, and we shipped at least 66 duck calls and a bunch of pot calls, like 20 or 30 pot calls that day. And he learned quickly, Like a lot of people, I just feel like, and he even said it too, was people just like, they just grow on a tree and you just go pick it, put it in your basket and ship it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah.
I wish it was that easy.
Right.
But I mean, we gotta get the material in, gotta machine the material. We gotta finish the material. We've gotta, put bands on, like with the pot calls. We gotta get those in. We've gotta sand on them. We've gotta buff them. We gotta polish them. We gotta make them look perfect. And, all that, put the coin in it, glue up the glass on the inside. All the 8 holes in the side of it, those all get polished.
Yeah.
On the inside of the hole.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm in there with the screw gun. You know what I'm saying? Like, And
Oh gosh.
I can only do like 6 at a time. Otherwise, my arms and my back just start hurting.
Yeah.
So I could go switch up and do something else. Glue up the glass, glue up the surface, and then, while you're doing all that, you just got to make sure you're not scratching it up on
Right.
something while
Yeah.
you're doing it, because, it can happen, right?
Yeah.
And then you're back to the buffing wheel. Well, if your pot call's finished and you go to the buffing wheel, you're getting dust all in there. Yeah, I just can't. It's a process, And then I got to build the striker.
Yeah.
You got 2 pieces on the striker to machine. 2 pieces you got to finish. Glue them together. I sand the tips off just to expose the raw material again.
Then you get lasered. Then
Lasered, painted, and then the striker shafts that are wood get oiled. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Then you put all that in a box. You get the Scotch-Brite cut. You get the sandpaper folded, and you get it in the bag, and you fold the bag, and you put it in the box. You get the box. Close the box, put it in a bag,
Yeah.
label it,
And then
and then it's ready to be shipped.
times that by 40, 50.
A lot. It's a lot of work, and it opened up his eyes to where, okay, I understand why these are priced the way they are.
Right.
Because I did have some people like say, looks pretty cool, but not for that price, and it's just like, dude, I'm probably not charging enough.
Yeah.
I made one guy a video, just responded right away and was like, look, man, like, essentially, your pot call, essentially, this is basically like a 4-inch square, right? Mm-hmm. So you literally got 1, 2, 3, 4 duck call parts, and then you got your striker tip or your striker topper. That's another part. Mm-hmm. So you've got 5 duck call parts. You got 2.5 duck calls here in material.
Right.
Essentially, you really do.
Right.
And honestly, more machining than a duck call, because there's just a lot more to this to
Right.
machine than a duck call. You're not just spinning it round, And I told the guy, I was like, well, our duck calls are 140. If I were to double it, because we've got more than double the material,
Right.
that'd be $280.
Yeah.
I can promise you too that these take longer to like get to a finished product,
Yeah.
and it's more than double in material price.
Well, and I think
cost.
the other thing too is like,
So I think 150 for a solid color and 175 for a pearl. And sorry to burst anybody's bubble, but something like this would be $200.
yeah.
There's a reason for that. It ain't because we're getting these for $30 and marking them up to 150.
Right. Well,
I can tell you that.
and it's not like it's something that you're going to use in one season and then have to replace it. Like, it's something that's going to last a long time.
Yep, just like your duck and goose calls. Mm-hmm. When you buy an acrylic duck or goose call, you want it to last your life.
Yep.
And it will. Mm-hmm. You might need retuned, but it's going to last you forever as long,
Right.
as long as you don't break it.
Right.
That's the same with this pot call, It's acrylic.
Right.
I mean, what better do you want? For durability, what better?
Yeah.
There is nothing better
Yeah.
for a pot call.
Yeah.
So, this is something else that's just totally different too. It's 100% cast acrylic. You're not going to get that. Mm-hmm. I got a call over there that says acrylic on it. Well, it's an epoxy resin. And a lot of people aren't used to it in the turkey world. When you say acrylic, they're used to knowing, and it being some sort of epoxy or resin or
Yeah.
something of that nature. Mm-hmm. They're not used to the cast acrylic in the turkey world.
Yeah.
In the waterfowl world, if you say acrylic, people will think cast acrylic,
Right.
first,
Yep.
and not the resin stuff. In the turkey world, it's flip-flop.
Right.
And, and honestly, like, I've only had like a couple people really complain about it. Mm-hmm. And really, they just need to research more and know what they're talking about.
Right.
Sorry about it, but you just do. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, and they're
and,
just
and I'm happy to answer any questions and explain anything.
right.
But I had one guy just jump on the post, just like, just throwing a fit, and it's just like, I know all you did was see this ad and
Right.
post a comment immediately. You didn't do any other research.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, those ain't our customers anyways, honestly. They're not going to buy anything, and that's okay.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? It's a free market. Anybody can do what they want. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if the price is too high, guess what? I won't sell any.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's
Yeah.
too low, I'll sell a pile of them.
Right.
So that's just it.
Yeah.
The market will determine what I can price them at. And,
Yep.
you know, right now I'm happy with
Yeah.
where it's at. So totally justifiable for sure.
Yeah.
On all ends, all fronts, because you're not getting that anywhere but here.
Yeah. And I can tell you from experience too that they absolutely work. Like our family has killed 3 birds already this year with this call. And the amount of messages that I've seen come through Last Flight's Instagram Messenger have been insane with just how good the quality is and the sound and everything. So it's just like
and we released it Friday morning at 10 a.m. By Monday morning, it's basically one business day, there was already a very well-known company that makes turkey calls already calling our acrylic supplier asking, how can we get that material?
which is crazy.
So if that don't say something,
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they're way bigger than us.
Yeah.
You know, turkey is very important to this company. Mm-hmm. You know, they also make duck calls, but turkey is very important to these guys. And
Right.
It wasn't but one business day, and they're already trying
Yeah.
to figure out how they can do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you know, we're going to be the originator of it, but you're going to see a lot of companies. I shouldn't say a lot of companies because there's some startup cost here, but
Right.
you're going to start seeing these more
Yeah.
probably come next year.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's already starting. So.
Well, you and I was talking earlier, like before we even went through this. I mean, this was months ago. Like we were talking like, why hasn't anyone done it before? You know, and it was just like now other companies are probably like, yeah, why haven't we done that? And then so now
I think part of the
you're gonna see more.
reason is because let's jump back 5 years when there was basically only one acrylic supplier, Spartec. And Spartec would supply acrylic, cast acrylic in rod form only. And they could care less about working with you on getting it made into sheet form, which is what we're doing. We're getting it made into sheets. Think like plywood sheets in a way.
Right.
Smaller than that, but same thing. And Spartec is not going to work with you. They're a very large company. Cast acrylic is like, doesn't move the needle for them.
Right.
I mean, you're talking about a company that's like into plexiglass and just like clear plastic things for like the medical field, just like totally
Yeah.
different things that aren't game call related. They don't care about the game call guys at all.
Yeah.
Like they just don't.
Right.
And up until 5 years ago, I think it was about 5 years ago, that's when Dead Shot Palmers jumped into the acrylic market. And all they do is deal with call makers. You know, 99% of what they do is call makers. So they cater to the call makers way better because that's their,
Right.
you know. So part of the reason is because there hasn't been an avenue for it until about 5 years ago. And then nobody's just asked the question, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I just called up Brian and was like, hey, let's make some turkey calls out of
Right.
this.
Yeah.
You know, can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. You know, now there's going to be a minimum order and all this and that, and you know, won't quite know the final price till it's all built. And so there was some risk involved. And but I mean, I wanted to do something different with it, so I was willing to take that
Right.
risk. So and so yeah, we made it.
And there was trial and error.
Well, there's a lot of trial and error. We got a whole box over there full of trial and
Yeah,
error.
because
And I mean, yeah, there's some you'd play right away and be like, nope, not it.
Yep.
You know, just getting, you know, something as simple as what glue to use. Getting that down
Yeah.
was a huge deal. I mean, it makes a difference.
What glue to use, how much to use, where to apply it, that kind
Right.
of stuff. Yeah.
You know, I'm using a different glue for the striker as I am for the pot, and
Right.
it matters.
Right.
You know, hard glue versus a soft glue. Like, I never thought it really mattered that much, but
Yeah.
it does matter.
Yeah.
You know, how big is your, how big's your soundboard on the inside?
Yeah.
What material is that?
Yep.
how big is your chamber inside your pot? How thick's your pot? Your hole placement, your pedestal height, your pedestal width. Is you got a complete solid circle pedestal, you got a 3-leg pedestal, 4-leg. You got 2 parallel lines for a pedestal. Like, what do you?
Right.
It all changes things, and a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
So, and at the end of the day, we felt crystal and slate over glass were the best 2 options. So that's what we got, and we'll probably come out with like a ceramic and something else, but and new colors as well. So we got the 6 online now. I can tell you right now, there's 2 new ones coming. Probably a month or so, but they're coming and they're going to be sweet. So that's the other thing with acrylic. We can keep switching it up.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but yeah.
And it keeps changing, the designs and colors. Maybe not the design, but the colors. You're not getting the same, just wooden pot call anymore. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's something that's definitely going to last. But because of all of this, obviously you've not gotten out at all to do any kind of turkey hunting yourself.
No, I mean, maybe towards the end of the month we'll get out, but so far I've not even thought about it just because I haven't. But there's just no way.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
Like, just between needing and having to be here. I don't need to be here. I have to be here, or I'm going to be getting hate mail.
Right. Yeah.
Sent to my email. Where's my call? Blah, blah, blah. I ordered this 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I've been hunting for 2 days.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Right.
So having to be here and then just normal life on top of that. We're getting ready to leave for Florida, so I've been packing for that.
Yep.
You make sure we got everything for that. And then just your normal life, taking kids to school, picking kids up. Just making sure your family's taken care of,
Yeah.
So all that, just turkey hunting is probably like 4th on the list, and everything else is, what I mean? Is what it is,
Right.
So I got to take care of priorities first. So
Yeah.
but I definitely have to get out.
Right.
So, and I thought about just doing. Brock is sending me snap after snap.
That is exactly who's snapping me too.
Let's see if Brock killed a turkey.
They just keep rolling in.
Yeah, it's because he probably shot a turkey.
Is he smoking a cigar?
He said, "Let's go spike up another 10 a.m."
That was
Bingo,
earlier.
He's got him.
I know. He sent me the video where he saw him on the field.
Over here. I snuck in this whole backside, coming up through all this.
He got himself a gobbler.
There. That's where I got. That's where I was.
Is he smoking a cigar?
Up for me to stay actually shutting.
Probably was, unless he's getting ready to. He's telling the whole breakdown.
He ain't gonna have enough breath to smoke a cigar after this.
It's a nice hat he's got on. That low pro gray turkey feather last flight hat.
Yeah.
It's always good when you ditch the vest. It's about to get rowdy.
About to get rowdy.
It's the 4th bird in 4 years on this property, and there's a couple more. They were pretty stale the first couple of days, but they really kicked on the last couple. So.
Oh, there he is, smoking a
There
cigar.
he is. There's a cigar. Brock's gonna watch this and be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Got her done, baby.
Oh God!
that's hilarious.
The spur pot strikes again.
Oh wait,
There it is.
Oh, beautiful. Look at the beard on that sucker. That's so cool. Live action right here on the podcast. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I figured he probably shot something. The way the Snapchats were rolling in.
I was gonna say
Got to get
mine
the
was
full breakdown of what happened.
mine was going nuts, and then yours was going nuts. But yeah. So anyway,
Where were we?
so anyway,
Oh yeah, getting out hunting.
yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I might just do a guided hunt at the end of May or something.
Well, when you get back from Florida, we'll go.
All right.
You can tag along with me, and then
I'll do
if anything, we'll get
I've been
pictures of them.
I wanted to just get out and tag along on anybody's hunt and just take pictures, honestly.
And that's what we might do, because realistically, I mean,
that's what you do.
My wife killed a bird. Yeah, my wife killed a bird. My 5-year-old son killed a bird. You know, my dad killed a bird. The only person I really want to get a bird is my daughter. And then after that, like, I mean, I have a tag, but I'm okay with going out and just photographing. And then once we photograph, if we get lucky enough, we photograph enough, and then we get plenty of pictures, and then I just shoot him before we leave.
Yeah,
that'd be ideal, right?
Yeah, we could.
So let's talk about. Whoa.
Will your daughter go, or?
Huh?
Is Braylee? Yeah.
She's been out 3 or 4 times so far.
Okay.
I pulled her out of school last Monday, and usually as long as her grades are doing okay and things like that, I'll pull her out for a morning of hunting. But it was unfortunate because she had like state testing that day. And we didn't realize it, so I pulled her. So she's got to make that up. But yeah, we slipped out, and then but we could still only hunt until noon at that point. Now, starting Monday of this past week, we were able to hunt all day. So that started the all day, I guess sunrise, 30 minutes before sunrise to sunset.
Yeah.
So, and that's when Bryson killed his, because we knew that the turkeys were in that field at night. Plus, they just planted, so then you got all the seed that's on top of the ground.
You got to tell us about that, because Bryson is 5 years old. He just smoked a gobbler. He's
5, but he's so much more mature than a typical 5-year-old. I mean, he has his 5-year-old moments. Like, you can tell he's 5 years old.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's
still
just
a kid. All good.
So he went out last year for his first ever hunt, and he had a longbeard do exactly what an adult would want a turkey to do. I mean, he came straight across the field. He was strutting, gobbling, spinning, dancing, everything all the way into the decoys. And just couldn't make it happen because the turkey wouldn't stop, and that's what Bryson was waiting on, which is kind of my fault. I should have kind of yelped at him or something to get him to stop and put his head up. And I was thinking about that hunt the other day when Bryson killed his. I'm like, I've got to get this turkey to stop, otherwise. And
how did that go? Did it stop?
It did. So, but it was so cool because you don't really understand or realize if your kids are understanding what you're asking of them. So it's one thing.
Yeah, you don't know if they fully understand what you're saying.
It's one thing to go out and shoot at a target, at 25 yards. It's a whole other ball game to be shooting at a live bird that's constantly moving its head all over the place.
Yep, on the move.
So he's not much. I mean, he likes to go out in the morning, but I took him out. My dad and I took him out a morning about a week ago, and he slept the entire time we were in the blind, and that's a big thing too with him is having the blind. Last year we didn't have a blind, but I wanted him to be able to be comfortable, because at this age, it's more about getting them out, and then it is
just get them out and get it done.
Like we don't matter how you do. Yeah, we buy a tag. He gets a tag, and if he kills one, he kills one. If not, it's just.
I mean, he's not going to be running and gunning. He's 5 years old.
No, yeah. So
get him in the blind.
Exactly.
And just comfortable and. Best opportunity to put a bird down.
Yep. So we had hunted this property a few times. I've actually photographed from the blind. I knew there were 4 or 5 jakes that hung out in this field, and I'm very against killing jakes. I mean,
we are not killing jakes.
Well, if you're wanting your population, anyway, don't get me started on this. Anyway, so but for
we can.
but for a first time hunter, like if you've never killed a turkey before, especially if you're 5, like shoot a jake. Like that's gonna cut your teeth on turkey hunting. But even
I mean, his reaction proves like that shooting that jake was good.
Yeah.
Because his reaction,
because it's not because so many times the kids don't understand that you can't just go out, sit there for 10, 15 minutes and then kill a bird.
Yep.
But I mean, I guess you can in some situations, like your situation, but in most cases, that's not going to happen unless you kill them right off of the roost, But anyway, so we took him out Friday. We took him out Wednesday evening, right? I think it was Wednesday evening. And it was about 5 o'clock. We drove past the field that the blind is in, and the jakes were already in the field, but they were a good ways away from the blind. Luckily, the hill kind of dropped down where the blind is, so we were able to get behind that hill, and it hit us to get to the blind. And one of the things that I've been really bad about is the perception from where I'm placing the decoys. Like if I'm trying to put the decoys in a perfect situation, like obviously if it's just me, if it's someone that's experienced, like we can move a little bit, if we don't set the decoys perfectly or whatever. But for a 5-year-old that has his gun in a tripod, like he's only got so much room to move. And so once we had got set up and everything, I really didn't like the decoy placement. And so my wife, she popped out of the blind and she kind of crawled out and was moving the decoys. Well, in the process, I think one of the Jakes saw her because they had already made their way across the field, but they were on the other side of us. So they were probably good 200 yards away from us, but they were close enough to see her because there's a hill there.
At least.
Yeah, and I wanted to put those decoys up on the crest of that hill for them to see. So I knew they had walked off into a field that was separated by a tree line. We don't have permission for that field. That guy actually hunts too. So it got to just right around 7 o'clock, I think. And Bryson brought his Nintendo Switch, just something to keep him busy.
Yeah.
And so he was playing the Switch, and then he grabbed the pot call, and he was playing on the pot call a little bit. And anything you wanted to do, like I let him do it. Like, this is your hunt, man. Like, you experience, you have fun. That's the biggest thing. I wanted to have fun. I didn't want him to hate it. So at any point he said, Dad, all right, let's go. Like, it was time to go. Like, I didn't want to force him to stay, and then him just say, I don't want turkey hunt anymore, because that sucked.
Yeah. Because I don't want to sit out there all day.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tried pointing out like little birds on the ground that were eating the seeds and different things like that. And he, like I said, right around 7 o'clock, he had said, "Okay, I'm ready to go, Dad." I said, "Okay." I said, "Just give it about 15 more minutes. I'm gonna try to do some more calling here, and then if we don't see anything, then we'll pack up and leave."
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of cutting on the slate, and then I did a lot of yelping. I did a lot of fighting purrs, and I think that was the ticket that kind of flipped a switch. Because turkeys, you can flip a switch, and you may yelp at them all day long, and they'll just kind of mosey and feet around, act like they don't care. But you hit one specific call or one call other than the other. It could be
the right
different.
note.
Could be a different tone. Yeah, it could be different, whole different call. And I think that the fighting purr was what triggered them. Yeah, I flipped that switch, and especially when you get a group of Jakes like that together, like they will come in to investigate, and they'll beat the snot out of a tom.
They're a little gang.
Yeah.
They're going to come in all together and fight whatever's there.
Yep. So the decoy setup that I had was I had a half strut Jake, and I had a feeding hen, and then I actually took I call it an alert hen, but it's a hen that basically has her head up. And what I did was I just cut it in half. And I laid that down on the ground and made it look like it was a nesting hen or a hen that was laying on the ground that was submissive, ready to breed. Yeah. And so after he said he wanted to leave, and I started, calling a little bit, and then I started kind of packing everything up, and then I happened to look up, and here come 4 Jakes through the tree line, and I'm like, Bryson, stand up slow, and he did everything perfect, man. Like he slowly handed me his Nintendo Switch, he slowly stood up. And then as the birds were coming in, then he got on the gun, and I felt so bad because he shoots a 410. It's a single shot. It's a Stevens 301T, and you can cock the hammer back, but there's also a safety switch that you can turn on and off. So you can still cock the hammer back and still have it on safety, to where you just got to flip that switch. Yeah. And so I had it cocked, and I could see that he was on the bird. The problem is Jakes a lot of times will come in as a group, so they just look like one big blob, and they move together. Right. And so they get to this hen that's laying on the ground, and all 4 of them took turns breeding that hen. Oh, really? So one would get on, do his thing, while the other ones were strutting around her, and then he would get off, and then another one would get on. And but the problem was they just kept moving, and they didn't just like stop at all. They gobbled a couple times. They were strutting. They put on a show for him. Yeah. And so I asked him. I said, "Are you on the head?" And I could just stay on his head. Whenever you're on the head, just let me know, and I'll turn the safety off, and just squeeze the trigger. And he said, "Okay, I'm on him." And so I had turned the switch of the safety, but I didn't turn it all the way off, because it's like a little lever. And he squeezed the trigger, and it just went click. Like the hammer went halfway down. And so I'm like, oh God, this poor kid just spent all that time concentrating on that, and now he's got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
So I cocked the hammer back again, and then I turned the safety all the way off. And then I was hands free at that point. You know, I'm just watching the birds. Ashley's filming with her phone because I didn't bring the big cameras because I wanted to make it about him, and I had the GoPro in there. And I'm watching the tip of the barrel, and that's how I'm kind of figuring out, you know, which bird he's on to let him know, okay, you can shoot it, or no, wait till he separates.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, just wait till that bird separates. Once he separates, then put it on his head and squeeze the trigger. And I'm watching him, and I'm watching the barrel of his gun, and he is perfectly following this turkey wherever it goes. Like he picked one, and he was like, I'm staying on this bird. And I yelped a few times, and the bird just kind of stuck his head up just enough. And Bryson said, "That's it." And he squeezed the trigger, and this thing he just did like a backflip. Like he jumped up and then he went back.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that I already had the blind unzipped, and I was out before the turkey even hit the ground.
Yeah.
And Ashley's got some pretty cool footage of him. You know, after it happened, it's just like a shocking moment, right? It's just like something
Adrenaline dump.
Yeah, he's
never experienced that.
No, and I can see when I was watching the barrel, him swinging it back and forth, I could see it shaking because he was shaking, you know, and so I get out there, and Bryson grabs the GoPro, and he comes running out, and he gets up next to me, and I'm standing behind the bird, and he comes up next to me, and he's got tears coming down his eyes, and I'm like, oh man, like this is like the moment that a parent that hunts with their kids, like that's the first thing he's ever killed.
Yeah.
So most kids are cutting their teeth on squirrels or rabbits or, you know, blackbirds in the backyard or whatever it might be.
Right.
Like he cut his teeth on a freaking turkey, which is crazy. But I'm like, oh no, like, is he going to regret this? Is he going to feel sad?
What
like,
kind of tears are those?
Yeah.
Is he actually sad and remorseful? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean,
I'm not gonna do that again because I don't like killing things.
Yeah.
Or is it like, that was freaking awesome?
Yeah, he doesn't even like killing worms. Yeah. Like he'll take worms and then he puts them in dirt and then he leaves them outside and then it rains and then it floods and then he gets all upset because his worms are dead. And I said, buddy, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? And he just looks at me and he's like, and I almost get teared up thinking about it because he goes, Dad, I'm just so happy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I look over to Ashley. She's tearing up. I'm tearing up. And then it's like Ashley and I talked and we're like, you know, we don't have any more first turkeys. Like both of our kids have killed turkeys, and we don't have that. I mean, Bryson will have his first deer this fall, hopefully. But and so he's got this GoPro, and he's doing a little vlog style of it, and he's turning around and he's showing where the turkeys came from, and of course we had to call Mamaw and Papaw and Uncle, and so he, of course, I carried the bird back and we get back up to the landowner's house, and the landowner was outside. He must have heard the shot. He was waiting. And we get up to the landowner's house, and Bryson goes up to him, and he goes, "Thank you for letting me hunt." And I'm like, that right there is successful. Because you hear so many times to where people get permission on places, and they just tear it up, you know? And then you got a 5-year-old that just went out, killed his first turkey, and the first thing he does when he gets back to the truck is thank the landowner for letting him hunt. Like, that's huge. Yeah. And so
as a parent, I mean, you can't ask for much more.
Yeah.
Out of a 5-year-old. It's insane.
And that's perfect it's everything that a parent should want of their kids growing up hunting. Like the respect of not only the animal, but the landowner, the land and the landowner. And so, and it really helps that we have some awesome freaking landowners. Like the first word out of his mouth was, "Well, you coming back, right?" And we're like, yeah, we'll be back, you know. And but he wanted to take the whole turkey to school to show all of his buddies. And I said, well, you can take a feather with you to school. You know, you can take a feather and you can show all of your buddies, like, hey, I killed a turkey yesterday. You know, I'm the coolest 5-year-old in the school right now.
Let him take the empty cartridge, the shell.
No. So, okay. That's a whole other conversation. My son got suspended from school because he took a live shotgun shell to class. He's kindergarten, so that's been a topic that we just can't do anymore. But yeah,
that's when you're from a hunting family.
Well, that's the thing.
Home.
Like it's just
a hunting community, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
What are those teachers? I mean, they know.
I mean, everything that kid has been surrounded in since the day he was born is hunting. from every, my side of the family is mom's side of the family. If you walk in our house, it looks like a freaking hunting store. Like
Right.
we've just got stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, of course, then we had to get some pictures, and he wanted to get
Pics turned out sweet.
Yeah, those were perfect. Well, it was perfect timing too, because the sun was coming
Oh, yeah,
down.
like
and,
golden hour.
Yeah, it was
Perfect light.
perfect.
Perfect light.
And I was actually, I was getting the camera when I was packing up before he killed it. I was getting the camera out because I wanted to get pictures of him in the field. So I'm like, okay, if he wants to leave, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll get some pictures. At least we have some kind of memories, picture memories of him hunting.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened that he killed the bird, and I'm like, this is perfect. Now and he vlogged all the way back to the truck with the GoPro.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest freaking thing ever. So.
Yeah. That's legit. That's
He wants to
awesome.
go again. He asked if we could go
Good Indiana.
the next day. And so I had to explain to him, like, no, buddy, we only kill one a year. I mean, even if we could kill multiple birds a year, I wouldn't let him hunt another bird. But
Take him over to Indiana.
yeah, could. I feel like that's kind of a far drive for somebody that gets bored after 2 hours, But,
Real hit or miss.
But yeah, he finally cut his teeth on a bird, and we're gonna get it mounted for him. He wants to put it in his room, and he's super excited about seeing himself on TV.
Yeah.
So I got to get all the footage, and I'm gonna try to figure out how I can. It's not gonna be like obviously like a traditional hunt, because it's just not everything that I would normally film. It's just basically straight to the point. So it's gonna be like a little 5-minute video probably, but just something to throw
document it.
online and.
Yeah, document the whole thing.
Yeah, he just wants to be able to see himself on TV and go to YouTube and watch it. And so, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's awesome.
It was definitely my most memorable hunt outside of, obviously his sister's. But his sister was 7 when she killed hers. And so I kind of thought maybe after last year, I've been so excited. And like it's different with a father and a son type deal.
Right.
Especially when it's your last one, right? So it's just like, I thought maybe I was pushing him too soon, maybe getting him out too soon. I didn't want him to hate it. And then that's where I was at. Like, I wasn't necessarily worried about him spooking birds. I just didn't want to go out and then be out there for 2 hours and then be wanting to come home.
That's what's great about an evening hunt too.
Yes.
It will end.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're not going to sit out there all
Exactly.
day long, you
Yeah.
know.
And
it will end.
Yeah. And we packed, like I said, we packed a Nintendo Switch. We had snacks. He had his root beer. He was set in that blind, and he can do whatever he wants to. He can move around. He can squirm. He can do
Get up,
anything.
stretch legs.
Get up, stretch legs, all that kind of stuff, and then still be hidden in a blind.
I mean, it's hard to tell a 5-year-old, do not move at all.
Exactly. It's almost impossible.
You can't for more than a minute.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so now he's got something to look forward to next year. I'm going to have him help me with the mounting process. We're going to take the tail, and then, we'll do something with the beard. I kept the 410 shell that he used.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do for him what I did for his sister, and I'll just glue. Obviously, with it being a Jake, the beard is not any longer than the 410 shell, so I can't really.
Put it in a 410.
It would shove all the way in there, and we never see the beard, but we'll figure something out for that. Yeah.
I like those framed ones
yeah,
you see.
yeah.
And it's got all the
The different
tail, the
feathers.
back, and the wings.
Have you ever seen
Those are
somebody make
legit.
those? It's
I think I have. Isn't it just each individual feather?
each individual
Yeah,
feather.
yeah.
So I'm gonna
that's
get the
ridiculous.
name up here, because we're actually gonna have a company that does that on the show after turkey season, which it's kind of hard right now because everybody is in the turkey woods. Like even us, like we normally would start the episodes at like 10:30.
I mean, we didn't do one last week because
Yeah.
we were hunting.
Yeah.
And then by the time Jake got here, we were, building pot calls like crazy. And, did a sound file, and there just wasn't time for a
Yeah.
podcast, unfortunately.
And so even like now we start at noon.
Been starting at noon.
Yeah. All feathers taxidermy. That's who's going to be on.
they get all the feathers.
They do. Yeah. It's glued. It's crazy just to see they pluck each individual feather.
I did see a video on that.
and then-
I didn't realize that's how they did that.
I didn't either. I thought they caped it.
I thought it
thought
was
they
like
did a
skinned or
cape.
whatever, and it was
Yeah.
not the case.
No, that's each individual feather is glued. Like even the wings, the wings are all pulled, and those are all individually glued. The only thing that's not individually glued, I think, No, the tail fan is individually glued as well.
I don't know how they get it all perfect.
I don't know.
Looks like it just came right off the bird.
I know.
And stuck on the wall.
I mean, it's. I guess
It's actually really cool.
When you stagger them, I guess if I don't know. Maybe they take a picture of it after they pull the fan off and then
I don't know.
look at it. I don't know either. But it's crazy. I don't know that I would have, like, I used to do taxidermy, and I don't know that I would have enough patience to do that. That would be something
That's like one of those 2,000 piece jigsaw puzzles.
yes,
Or whatever.
yeah. I don't know.
Oh, thank you.
I kind of want to try it, but at the same time, it's just I know it's going to take me a month to do because one, I'm way too busy. I don't have time to do that.
And it's like, where's this feather go?
Yeah, and then exactly. So you're like guessing, but
Does this look right here?
yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah.
But yeah, it's been a good year so far. I just got to get Braley her bird. Hopefully that'll happen this weekend. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow.
It's kind of a slow start for you guys, wasn't it?
Yeah,
But
it was.
You guys been knocking them out these last. Yeah,
So
Ashley got hers.
We had a
then-
problem, especially with the youth season. Normally, Braley will kill hers during youth.
Yeah.
We had a problem we had that huge flooding. And so all of our properties are river bottoms, except for the one that Bryson killed his on. That's not a river bottom. I mean, there's a river there, but where we hunt, it's not.
Right.
And so once it floods, like I'm talking like flooding was like a foot away from going on my camera.
Right.
Like it was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And it pushes the birds around a little bit. Takes them a little bit of time to come back. They will come back. It just takes them some time. And then we also we have a ton of hens this year. Like we must have had a huge hatch last year because we have so many jakes. We've got so many longbeards. I mean, we've killed two mature turkeys off of one of these properties. And when we're hunting and listening, we still have 4 or 5 longbeards that are gobbling. We've got a bunch of jakes. And then you see the toms come out and you're like, okay, this is going to happen. And then next thing you know, like 7, 8 hens come out with me. And I'm like, there's no way.
Time to go home.
Yeah. So we fought with this turkey all morning trying to get him to come in, but you're not going to get a tom to leave 7 to 8 live hens to come to one hen. You know what I mean?
So your decoy laying on the ground.
Right. Yeah. So.
I mean, it's the same with goose hunting. You know, it's hard to pull them off of a feed. So if there's a feed in the next field of 300-400 geese,
Right.
and they're coming between you, like where are they going to go?
Right,
They're
yeah.
going to go to the 400 that are moving around.
Right, yeah.
Making all the noise. Like they're not going to come to you.
Right.
Like, you might as well just go home.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it really is. And we tried to make a move on him, and I guess Zane went one way, and I went another. Actually, I stayed by the camera because I was still filming the turkey, and the plan was Zane was going to move around because you can get down on the riverbank, and then you can walk the riverbank and then never be detected, and then just pop up over the hill inside the woods and then get close enough. And he got within 15 yards of him. The plan was that I was going to stay, and I was going to film this turkey, and then he was going to shoot it from across the field.
That'd be cool.
And but it just didn't work out. I ended up breaking off because I still have a tag to fill too, and I thought, well, so one of us has got to kill something here this morning. There's been 2 longbeards in the field, and but they just did what turkeys do, and he just turned around and he walked completely opposite direction without hens. It didn't make any sense, but that's just where he went. I guess he went to a loafing area that he knew he wanted to be at anyway. So.
Like I say, they can do what they want.
Yeah, yeah. So we're finally getting to the point to where a lot of these hens are already bred, and they'll hang out for a little bit, and then they'll go, to their nest, and then this is when we're breaking off of the longbeards early, and they're coming in. Ashley killed hers 30 minutes after fly down. Where we at? I know we got to be getting there in
51 minutes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But Ashley killed hers right off of not right off the roost. It's about 30 minutes after fly down. But it was the coolest footage ever because it was so foggy. You couldn't see but 30 yards in front of you. We had deer come up into the decoys and then blow and take off. Meanwhile, we've got a tom gobbling 50 yards away. And then he just kind of comes through the fog and then down into the decoys. She kills him. And
This brought up a memory.
Yeah.
This brought up a memory of Peter sent me a Snapchat. Did you get that Snapchat?
Probably.
Which one? It looked like Snow White, dude. Freaking, he's sitting there turkey hunting, and there's like 4 turkeys here.
Oh yeah, those hands.
Pans to the right. Here comes a couple deer. Comes back to the middle, and there's 2 geese.
Oh yeah,
with their gooselings walking through the woods.
Yeah, I did.
And it's just like,
because
what is going on?
His caption was like, "What was it? I don't even know what's going on." Or
I don't even know what's going on right now. It's just like, dude, look like, you know what I mean? Like Snow White, all the animals come out of the woods and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what was going on in this video, but there was everything.
The other day he sent a Snapchat of he sent a Snapchat that said turkey hunting is stupid and so are turkeys. And then right after that he's got a handful of mushrooms. So he must have said, screw this, I'm mushroom hunting.
Right.
But
Turkey hunting's easy.
man.
Yeah. So my first bird, my cousin Eric took me out, and him and his wife have doubled for 5 years straight on opening day.
Yeah.
5 years straight. That's insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, when he's shooting his bird on opening day, he's kind of wanting to go again, right? Because it's like, season's over. I've only been out here for 2 hours.
Right.
So he had this bird pattern behind his house, pretty good, and he patterned him Sunday and put him to bed Sunday night. So he texted me Sunday night and said, hey, if you want to shoot a bird, I got one, basically.
Yeah.
Probably like the easiest guided hunt you could ever go on,
Right,
really.
yeah.
So show up to his house, and we just walk out to the field, like 300 yards across the field, and we actually took the gator about halfway.
Yeah.
And then got out, walked, a couple hundred yards or whatever around here, and and got set up. We put out we put out a hen and a Jake breeding the hen. And how did that go? I'm trying to remember. It's a couple years ago. But anyways, we're sitting there, and he knew right where he would cross the creek. So there's a creek behind us, and then a cornfield in front of us, and we're right on the edge of the field line. And this bird was roosted back to our back left, probably, I'm going to say 300 yards. I'm not 100% sure. But he was gobbling right away that morning. And we just kind of waited. And, out of nowhere, these turkeys are actually kind of sneaky.
They
They're
are.
very, very sneaky.
Yeah.
A hen just starts walking right in front of me.
Yes.
And at that point in time, that's the closest I've ever been to any wild turkey. I'm just like I'm not immediately was just like, oh crap, you know what I mean? And she's just walking along, pecking at the ground, and just, goes about her day.
Yeah.
Like she has every day.
Yeah.
And we just saw the one hen, and the tom is still back behind us gobbling. Evidently, he might have been following her. I don't know. But it was probably a half hour later. He finally came across the river. I'm kind of jumping the gun here. So he came. We could see him across the river through the woods. And this woods was nice and cleaned up because the landowner picked up all the sticks.
Yeah.
Cuts out all the honeysuckle. It's just large trees. And you could see him coming through the woods. And Eric would, he walked down, called, walked back to where we were, called, just like hen yelps, whatever. And let's see. Yeah, he's back there. He was coming. He came all the way through really quick up to the edge of the creek, which is just 10 yards behind us. And we're he's literally right there. And it was one gobble felt like he was 200 yards away. And then the next gobble, it felt like he was right behind us. So I peek out there, and he just starts beelining the other direction, tail down, tucked in, how they do, running like a dinosaur. You know what I mean? They're he's out of there. It's what the heck? And dude, this all probably happened in 10 minutes, but it felt like a minute. All this happened, right? It just was time was just, and fast forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he beelined the other direction. Next thing you know, we hear,
Yeah.
he flew across that creek, and we're just oh crap. He must have just beelined out and beelined back, flew across the creek, because it seemed like it happened that quick.
Yeah.
And he come up on the right, full strut, coming up the side of the embankment to the creek, and he was only 10 or 15 yards. And I didn't let him make much of a move on that Jake. So he come up, and Jake decoy's right here. He just made one turn, did a 180, and I put him down.
Yeah.
At 15 yards.
A lot of people, if I'm filming them, they'll ask me, you want me to let them work the decoy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, shoot him. You get the opportunity, shoot him, because, it's if you've shot plenty of birds, like it's one thing. Like let him do some stuff to the decoy, let him hang out, get some good footage. But if you're dealing with pressured birds anyway, like one little thing and they're just boop, gone. But,
he was totally locked in on that decoy, what was going on, and he made a 180 and laid him out right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long the beard stuff was. I got the fan and the beard at the house. I'll have to measure it, but I think it was like, I want to say 11 and a half inch beard,
that's a good beard
on this.
Yep.
He was a good bird.
Yeah.
I want to measure it again because I just totally don't remember. I need to like measure it and then write it on I got like the plaque with the fan on it. Maybe like write it on there with the date or something.
Yeah.
Need to do something, but yeah, that's my first bird.
It ain't always that easy.
And all that happened in 45 minutes of being out there. So it was just like, I don't know why people struggle with this.
Yeah.
That's what they tell me.
Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. And then
Which he had that bird pattern, like, I mean, like he knew it was going to be there.
And realistically, like that's what killed Bryson's bird too. It's just we knew from experience and being out there and knowing those birds are out there. Like that's part of the battle. Like you have to know at least where they're going to go and what they do, and then try to intercept them.
Yeah. He knew that bird was.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. He don't do any scouting until a week before season. And he basically just finds out where they're roosting and then where they're going in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And he just tries to be on that, as close to the roost as you can, but not too close, but also then in the path of where he's wanting to head.
Yeah.
And I mean, things can change day to day,
100%,
but I mean, if he did that if he did that yesterday, he's a good chance he's going to do it tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Yep.
At least that's what they say to me. I don't know. I just go and shoot them and make sweet turkey calls.
Yeah. Well, you go and enjoy Florida. You get back from Florida, we'll go out. I'll take a day off of work, and maybe if we can plan it right to where it's a Friday, then we'll go out and do that. If not, if it's a day throughout the week, I've got plenty of vacation time, and
Monday or Friday definitely, and then if we want to do something else, we can figure it out.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it.
I think that's going to wrap it up. Yeah, that was a good one there.
A few more pot calls I got to get out here. UPS is going to be here in probably about an hour, so we better get back to work.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into this podcast, and then we'll come up with some fancy stuff for maybe next week. I haven't decided if I'm going to take next week off or if I'm going to put a vacation.
You got to
day
work.
In.
We didn't do a podcast last week.
That's true. We didn't. But then, we'll
see. I'll be out, so it's kind of going to be an off day anyways.
Yeah.
So see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see if I can get somebody on there, and then we'll get a guest on here for when you're gone or something, and then we'll go from there. But all right, guys, thanks for tuning to this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.